Everyone, welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Today we're going to tackle a topic that I know a lot of you have been wrestling with, and that's, how to find your passion.
Right.
You sent in some great questions about feeling like, you're not sure what you really love doing, and we thought this would be a really great opportunity to really dive in and get into some specifics.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people feel that way, and hopefully we can give them some clear ways to kind of gear that out.
So our mission today is to explore some pretty simple but powerful ways to help uncover what really truly excites you.
Right.
Things that could turn into something really meaningful in your life.
Exactly. And I think one of the biggest things to remember right from the start is that passion isn't always something you just find.
Right.
It's something you kind of discover through doing things and experiencing things.
So to jump right in, let's talk about the difference between something you're just kind of interested in
Yeah.
and a true passion.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. You can be interested in a ton of things, but a passion is something that you're consistently drawn to.
Right.
Like it's on your mind even when you're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that kind of gives you energy even when you're tired.
One thing we saw is when you list out all the things you enjoy doing, ask yourself, would I still do this even if I wasn't getting paid?
Absolutely.
And if it's a yes, then it's, you're onto something there.
Yeah, you're in the right realm.
And I think that's really fundamental for you, because you want to be able to grasp these concepts quickly.
Exactly. And I think it's easy to kind of get those two confused, liking something and then that deeper passion. And that leads us to another really important point.
Okay.
You can't just sit around and think about what your passion's going to be.
Right.
You actually have to go out and do things.
It's so tempting to just be like, oh, when am I going to find my passion?
Right.
It's just going to magically appear.
Totally.
But everything we saw is you really unearth it by actually trying things out.
And that's where that experimentation comes in.
Yeah.
Try different hobbies, try learning a new skill, whether that's writing, coding, photography, you mentioned business even.
Right.
Actually trying these things out is how you get clarity.
You get those aha moments.
Exactly.
It's almost like, you don't know if you like hiking until you actually go hiking.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And the first time you go, you're like, this is hard.
Right.
But then you're like, oh, I actually really enjoy this.
I get it now.
One thing that I thought was super interesting was this idea of looking back at what you loved as a child.
Yeah.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, I think a lot of times those passions that we had as kids, like drawing, building things, making up stories, they give us really good clues about what we're naturally drawn to.
Right.
Because when you're a kid, you're doing things purely for the joy of it.
You're not thinking about is this going to be my job?
Exactly. You're not thinking about, how am I going to make money from this? Is this going to lead to a career?
Right.
It's just pure enjoyment. And somewhere along the way, we lose that sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, thinking about those early passions, it's almost like they're a direct line to what we're, naturally excited about.
Totally.
And it made me think about we should really pay attention to, what activities actually give us energy as opposed to drain us.
Right. And how do you actually feel after spending time doing something?
Right. Are you exhausted?
Are you depleted? Or do you actually feel energized?
Because it shouldn't feel like a struggle, right?
But you shouldn't. And that's, I think, a really key thing for you is that a passion should feel exciting. It should, it should make you feel more alive when you're doing it.
And I think that's also something to notice. Are there things that you do where suddenly 3 hours have gone by and you're like,
exactly.
Where'd the time go?
Yeah, you get lost in it, and that's a really good sign.
Now, we have to be realistic here.
For sure.
It's not like we're all going to have this huge epiphany, right?
No.
This can take time.
Absolutely. It's a process. It's not like you're going to, wake up tomorrow and be like, aha,
yeah,
this is it,
Right, exactly.
It can take time to really figure it out.
And it's okay if you don't have all the answers right now.
Exactly.
The main thing is to keep moving, keep exploring, keep learning.
Keep going, keep trying new things.
So to kind of sum it all up, it's, finding your passion is not about just sitting around waiting for it to hit you.
Right.
It's an active process of exploring, trying things out, and paying attention to what truly gets you excited.
And what energizes you.
What energizes you.
And don't forget about those things that you loved as a kid.
Exactly. That's such a good point.
Go back and revisit those.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
Think back to one thing you absolutely loved doing as a kid.
Okay.
And ask yourself, is there any way I can explore that again now?
I love that.
like as an adult, and what new perspective do you bring to it now that you're, older and you've experienced more things?
That's a great point. I
Mm.
think it's a great place to start for everyone.
Yeah, it could be really fascinating.
Awesome.
All right, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.